All right, so everyone is talking about Final Destination, and you guys really sent in a lot for this Reddit thread about the new movie Final Destination, Bloodlines. It looks like we are going to be diving deep today into some release dates and fan theories. Oh, and of course the death scenes.
You know, it's amazing how this franchise just keeps going. I think it's about how much we all think about death, and Final Destination lets us just think about it a bit more safely.
Yeah, and so the new movie Final Destination, Bloodlines is going to be in theaters on May 16th, 2025. A lot of you noticed that that's really close to when that Flight 180 crashed in the first film.
Oh, yeah, it's been so long since that first movie. Picking that date must mean something. Maybe they're telling us to get ready for more Final Destination.
Yeah, maybe. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the title, Bloodlines. What do you think so? Some people on Reddit didn't really like that title.
Yeah, I get that. We've seen that title before in a lot of horror movies. Wrong Turn and Tremors, even Pet Sematary used it.
Yeah, some people on the thread even suggested other titles that would be better, like Final Destination, Revelations because it rhymes, or The Final Is Destination, and Final Destination, Final Revelation.
Oh, wow. The fans are really tough. But the title Bloodlines does make us ask some questions like, what does it mean? Does it mean a family curse or just bad luck running in a family?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
And on the topic of bad luck, there's one theory that really stands out to me. So this teen girl starts having visions of a restaurant fire that happened to her grandma back in the 60s. But here's the thing, the grandma survived the fire because she also had a vision. So all of her descendants shouldn't even exist, and now they are in danger.
Oh, wow. That really fits the Bloodlines title. So maybe fate isn't random, maybe it gets passed down in families.
That is heavy. And you know what else is interesting? Tony Todd is back.
Yeah. This is one of his last films before he passed away.
Oh, yeah. That's sad. It's almost like a goodbye to him and to a horror legend. But what do fans think about Bloodlines overall? What are they expecting?
Yeah, good question. It's always hard to tell with sequels, especially with Final Destination. Fans want the same thing, but they also want something new at the same time.
Yeah. Some people were all about it, saying stuff like, you can't go wrong with a Final Destination movie. And all we want are creative deaths. And even, I will watch these movies forever.
Yeah, that's really the core idea of the franchise, right? It's not a super deep story. It's just crazy death scenes and people being afraid of dying.
Yeah, like a roller coaster, but scarier.
Yeah.
But of course, not everyone is so excited. Some people want something new and not another sequel.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, can Bloodlines be different and new, or will it just be like all the others?
I guess we will have to wait and see. But what I'm really curious about is how they're going to make the death scenes even crazier.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this Reddit thread had so many ideas.
Final Destination is really good at that, taking everyday things and making them scary.
Yeah, like in Final Destination 2 with the log truck. Just pure chaos. But why are we so interested in these death scenes? What do you think?
Well, first you have the suspense. You know something bad is going to happen. And then you have the relief when it finally happens.
That's a scary roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also funny. We laugh at these crazy deaths because it's not real.
Exactly. We get to be scared, but we are safe. Plus, it feels good when someone who deserves to die finally does.
Yeah, like there is a lesson in there. Be careful or you could die. But some fans were worried about the movie. They think it might just be a bad movie trying to make money from the franchise.
Yeah, that could be a problem. There are a lot of sequels and reboots out there that are not good. Bloodlines needs to be new and fresh.
Yeah, they have to find a way to keep the old fans and also bring in new fans. But even if it's not a good movie, I'm still going to see it. I love these movies. I have to see the crazy deaths.
Yeah, me too. I wonder how they are going to use all of the new technology and stuff in their death scenes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe a self-driving car or a TikTok challenge gone wrong.
Yeah, there are so many possibilities.
Okay, but before we go too far into that, we should talk about Tony Todd. Having him in this movie is really special now that he's gone. He was really an icon for horror movies. And his character Bloodworth was both scary and cool.
Yeah, he was so good at giving those creepy warnings. He made the whole movie feel more serious and real.
Yeah, he was like a symbol for fate itself.
Yeah, exactly. It's sad we won't see him again in these movies, but he will always be a part of Final Destination.
I think Bloodlines will be a good way to remember him. But we are only getting started with this Reddit thread. There's a whole section about the new characters and how death might be different this time.
It looks like we have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah. Let's take a break and then come back for the rest of this deep dive into Final Destination. We're back and ready for more Final Destination talk. You guys have been sending in some really interesting theories in this Reddit thread. It's like everyone's writing the movie together.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so cool how much fans care about this franchise. They're not just watching it, they are part of it.
Yeah, they're definitely giving the filmmakers a lot of ideas. Like one user said, maybe Bloodlines has a Son of Death character, someone who is even worse than death.
I don't know if I like that idea. Part of what makes Final Destination scary is that we don't really know what death is. It's
Hmm.
just this powerful thing that can't be stopped. If you give it a family or make it look human, then it's not as scary anymore.
Yeah, that's true. It's scarier when we don't know anything about it. Some people on Reddit were worried about the whole Bloodlines idea.
Yeah.
Like one comment said, bloodline for who the wind that kills people.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. That's funny. But it does make you think, if death is supposed to kill everyone, then how can it be about family? Does that mean death chooses some families over others?
Yeah, that's a good question. It would change a lot about how Final Destination works. Unless maybe it's not that death is choosing families, maybe some families are just unlucky.
Yeah.
Like they just have bad things happen to them more often.
Oh, that's interesting. It makes it more about psychology and less about death being a bad guy.
Yeah, kind of like nature versus nurture, but with death. A few people were hoping for some cameos from the older movies. Like, what if Clear Rivers from Final Destination 2 showed up in Bloodlines?
Oh, yeah. That would be cool. It would connect all the movies together.
Yeah, and it would show us how she's doing after all these years. But honestly, I just want to see the death scenes. This Reddit thread has so many crazy ideas.
That's what everyone loves about these movies, right? It's like horror and comedy at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They make these crazy deaths look so real. Like that log truck scene from Final Destination 2, it's so over the top, but it's also really creative. Why do you think we enjoy watching these death scenes?
I think it's because they build up the suspense so well. You know something is going to happen and you just wait for it.
Yeah, and then it's like a relief when it finally happens.
Yeah.
But we also laugh because it's not real. We get to experience that fear without being in actual danger.
Yeah. It's a way to deal with our fear of death. And it also feels good when someone who did something bad dies.
Yeah, like it's a lesson.
Hmm.
But some fans were worried that the movie won't be good. They think it might just be a way to make money from the Final Destination name.
Yeah, I understand that. A lot of sequels and reboots are not very good. They have to make Bloodlines really good or people will be disappointed.
Yeah, they can't just make the same movie again. They have to do something new and different. But even if it's not good, I'm still going to see it. I can't miss those death scenes.
Me too. I wonder how they're going to use all of the new technology.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Imagine a death scene with a self-driving car or a TikTok challenge gone wrong.
Yeah, there are so many possibilities.
Okay, but let's talk about Tony Todd for a minute.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad watching him in this movie knowing that it was one of his last. He was a legend in horror movies. His character Bloodworth was so creepy and cool.
Yeah, he was great at delivering those warnings. He made the whole movie feel more serious and real.
Yeah, he was like the face of fate in these movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's too bad we won't see him in any more Final Destination movies.
I think Bloodlines will be a good way to remember him. But there's still more to this Reddit thread. People have been talking about the new characters and how death might be different this time.
Sounds like we have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, let's take a break and then come back for the rest of this Final Destination deep dive. All right, we are back and ready to finish up this deep dive into this crazy Final Destination Reddit thread. And let me tell you, things are getting really interesting now. We're going to talk about the release date and how Bloodlines fits into all the other movies.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the fans are already thinking about all of this. It's like they are writing the story with the filmmakers.
I know, right? And one theory was really out there. Someone said maybe Bloodlines will tell us where death came from. Like
Huh?
maybe we will see how death became this powerful thing that messes with people.
Wow, that would be something else. Imagine seeing death before it was all powerful. Maybe even seeing death mess up those death scenes.
Yeah, like imagine death trying to drop a piano on someone but missing.
That would be funny. Maybe death isn't actually evil, just trying to do its job.
Yeah, maybe. But let's talk about where Bloodlines fits in with the other movies. Someone pointed out that the movie comes out on May 16th. That's only a few days after the anniversary of that plane crash from the first movie.
Oh, wow, they must have done that on purpose. They were reminding us that death is always there waiting.
Yeah, just like a full circle moment.
It shows us that no matter what, death will always find you. But maybe Bloodlines is going to be a whole new start for the franchise.
Oh yeah, a reboot.
Yeah.
Some people on the thread were talking about that. They want a new beginning for Final Destination.
That could be cool. And they have so many ideas from the fans to use.
Yeah, you guys have given them a lot to work with. A lot of people wanted to see the death scenes use more modern technology. Like, What if someone dies from a drone or a live stream?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Final Destination is all about using the things around us to make scary scenes.
Yeah, it's like they are showing us that even the things you think are safe can kill us.
It's a scary thought, but it's also true.
Final Destination is about all of our fears, the things that scare us in everyday life.
And in today's world, those fears are even bigger.
Yeah. Final Destination is not just about jump scares and blood. It's about how we all have to die someday.
It reminds us that death is the only thing we all have in common.
And that's why these movies are so popular.
They talk about something that everyone thinks about.
Well, that's about it for this deep dive into Final Destination. But before we go, we want to ask you a question. If you could create a death scene for Final Destination, what would it be? What everyday thing would you turn into a death trap? Think about it. Be creative, and maybe your idea will be in the next movie. Until then, be safe and remember death is always watching.